What's up, team?
Hi.
How you guys doing?
Hi.
How are you?
Getting better by the minute. Thank you for asking.
Awesome. We're just gonna start the show immediately, and your segment is first, but we'll get
Perfect.
there after the intros.
Take your time. I'll be here. I'll be here all week.
Here
Ryan,
we go.
by the way.
Oh, Kevin, myself. Sorry.
All right.
Hi. I'm Megan.
Hey, Megan. Nice to meet you both.
Nice to meet you.
All right. Welcome to this Earths Suckhole. On today's episode, we take a shot at the JFK assassination, we find out what it's like to live on Venus, and I go back in time to try to create a universe where cocaine never existed. My name's Kevin.
I'm Megan.
And we have a special guest today, Ryan Stanley. How are you doing?
I am doing amazing, getting better by the minute. Thank you so much for asking.
Awesome. So you're a life coach, right?
That is the word on the street.
Awesome. So what is it that you wanted to talk about? Anything you like. The floor is yours.
Anything I like? Nice. Well, first I want to talk about going back in time and doing cocaine. No, I'm just kidding. Not to start anyway. No, man, I really just wanted to, I've been spending some time meeting a lot of different people and going on some podcasts. And so I recently published a book called Be Patient, Be Present, Be Joyful. And so I'm just getting an opportunity to connect with people in different audiences and let them know that, every moment in life is a choice and decide who you want to be. And there's always an opportunity to do something about it. And that includes creating patience, creating presence, creating joy in our life, even when it doesn't necessarily seem possible.
Yeah. Nice.
Awesome.
Cool. Very cool.
So I could talk about that as much as you want. I have a favorite band called Fish. I don't know if you guys are Fish fans or know people who are, but I could talk about those guys for hours.
I creeped you. I creeped your website a little bit, and I did see that you were a Fish fan.
Fish fan. I also have a T-shirt company called Setlist Tees, and it's like a T-shirt company for fans of live music. And so on the front of the shirt, it'll have the date from your favorite concert. On the back of the shirt, it'll have the set list from whatever music they played that night.
That's super cool. What a great idea.
That's really smart. That is very smart.
It's like instead of just taking home a ticket stub, you can take home a T-shirt that you can wear whenever you want, and then you run into people at the store or the post office, and they can say, "Oh my gosh, is that just recognizing the songs on the back of the shirt? They're going to have you make new friends that way. It's basically just for making friends."
How many times did I want a lousy shirt at a show and I never got one? That's fucking perfect.
Yeah, well, and they're super overpriced too. They're like ridiculously priced at the concerts, and it's like the lines just to try to freaking get one are terrible.
Yeah, and this way you can take home with you one that really kind of speaks to you specifically about that evening.
Nice. What's the turnaround time on?
Well, right now we've got about 50 on the site. So that we've actually designed and created, but you can go ahead and there's actually a separate area where you can request your own as well, and that takes a little bit longer. We're in the process of changing all that though, but hopefully by the end of the summer, you will be able to order any shirt from any band as long as we can find the set list online.
That's such a great idea.
That is super
done
cool.
On that one. So why don't you talk about this book that you wrote a little more?
Sure, man. Yeah, happily.
Yeah.
So, it's as a life coach and as somebody who's been into personal development my whole life, like I come across a lot of books. I think there's some amazing books out there that don't, that can really change your life. I, on the other hand, am not a reader. I don't like to read. I don't like to spend, 100 pages reading what, you telling me what you're going to tell me, then 100 pages telling me what you're telling me, and then another 100 pages telling me what you told me. So I was like, listen, man, and I, was coming up with some really familiar and consistent contents with my clients, not contents, but concepts. And so I was like, listen, if we could just dial this into something that's quick and easy, like if I'm having a tough day, if I'm feeling anxious, if I'm feeling overwhelmed, I just want to pick up something and feel better like in 20 minutes. I don't necessarily want to spend 7 hours reading about it. So I decided to come up with this first aid kit. There's only 5 chapters in it, and they're all relatively short. The first one is basically a prologue that just, lets us know that we are all creators. It's like, listen, if you're going to understand or get any value out of the rest of this book, you need to recognize that you are a creator. In the sense that in any given moment, you are creating. We are always creating something. Right now, we are creating 3 people having an amazing conversation on a podcast. When you wake up in the morning, if you decide to put blue socks on, blue pants, a blue shirt, blue hat, you are creating a person dressed in blue. When you write down words on a piece of paper, you put a period at the end, you're creating a sentence. Even when you're sleeping, you're creating a man or woman who is sleeping. So at any given point, we are always and always creating. So understanding this concept is almost like this weird thing where it seems obvious, but then it's not, because people don't really make the time to think about it. If you realize that when you're stressed, you are creating stress. When you're angry at someone, a friend or family member or someone you just don't like, you are creating anger and you're creating overwhelm. We also create laughter, we create happiness. But so by recognizing you're a creator, you can always take the point to say, okay, what am I creating right now? If I'm creating stress, what would I prefer to be creating? And so that's when it goes into then chapter 1 is patience, right? A lot of people want to create, like there's an opportunity to create patience. When people say, Ryan, that's not so easy. If I could do that all the time, I would. And the truth of the matter is you can. You just need to ask yourself important questions like, what does patience feel like? How would a patient person behave in this moment, if that's what you want? How could I create patience in this life? And so then chapter 2 goes into being present. How can you create someone who's present? A lot of the time when we're worried, we're stressed, we're busy thinking about the future or the past, what someone is going to say, what someone else thinks somewhere else about me, what I did last week, that time I did cocaine back in 1989. We're thinking about the past. Instead of being present, we are, we're somewhere else. And so create someone who is present. What does that feel like? What does that look like? And then in the grand scheme of things, once you've created patience, you've created presence, chapter 3 is about creating joy. How else would you rather be feeling? Joyful, if possible, right? So how does a joyful person behave? What's a joyful memory? Well, think of someone who you love unconditionally and create love and joy within your heart. And then there's an epilogue, which is, and then just keep going. On your worst day, on your best day, keep going. Live on purpose. Be the best version of yourself as often as you can.
Huh.
That's awesome.
More people
really
need to hear stuff like that. Yeah, so I'm curious how that would work for someone with anxiety or depression, like how they could switch gears. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's one thing to go from like baseline to creating joy, but like for people who are stuck in a rut and like down in depression that they've had for years, there's like debilitating anxiety. I mean, how does your book fit for those, or those kind of people too? Or
it does, in the sense that it is extremely it's a casual conversation. It's not super heady like psycho talk. It's really it's talking just like I am now. It's written really with my conversation. So in the sense that it just talks about these things on a very human level. So anybody, even somebody in that depressive state, and first of all, let me dial back. I am not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist. And so I don't want to pretend to diagnose anybody, and I'm not qualified to do that. So there are certain levels that need expertise that I am not pretending to give. That being said, I also believe that if your intention is to get better and to be less depressed, it does take practice like anything else. And so these concepts, when put in order, if you're practicing them on a daily basis and multiple times a day, as opposed to people who are in depressive cycles tend to think about the same things over and over again. They get in cycles that are not serving them. And to your point, put them, depressed day after day after day, because they're looking and thinking about the same stuff. And they're creating a depressed person, and they're creating thoughts that are of anxiety, thoughts of stress. And they're constantly looking at fears and looking at anxieties and creating more of that. And so even for a depressed person to take the book and spend some time with it, the other cool thing about the way it was written is it's intentionally a first aid kit, in the sense that you could pick it up at any given point and pick out open any page, and there's going to be something on there that could serve you in the moment. So I love that. Yeah. So somebody who is stressed, so somebody is overwhelmed, they could pick it up and say, open it to page 17, and there's going to be a quote there from myself or somebody else, or like a picture or a tip or a blurb, or, at the end of each chapter, there's what I call Band-Aids. The whole second half of the book is just what I call CPR, just blurbs of concepts that could make you feel better when you're having a shitty day.
That's awesome. Where can people find your book, eh?
Yeah, man, you could find, so first of all, it's on Amazon, it's on barnesandnobles.com, any place where books are sold, as they say. But then secondly, if you just go to ryanstanley.com, which is my name, RyanStanley, at the top of the website, you'll see Be Patient, Be Present, Be Joyful. You click on that, and you can get a book directly from me. It'll be signed by me if you buy it from me. And then depending on my availability, you could also get a complimentary coaching session.
Oh, awesome. That's super awesome.
Yeah, that is.
Well, I hope everyone listening goes and checks out his website, because that sounds like something that a lot of people need in their life.
And I will absolutely send you guys copies as well after this.
Hey, that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
that would totally be awesome. So I have two things that I want to kind of say. So I don't know if you're I know you're not a big reader, you said. I am a huge reader. Huge reader. I mean, I got a bookshelf right there. Love to read. I have been trying to get through, and I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Option B, Facing Adversity, Building Resilience, and Finding Joy by Sheryl Sandberg. Have you heard of it?
I haven't, but I will definitely look into it.
You should. I sort of find it hard to get through because it's not necessarily relatable, because Sheryl Sandberg works for Facebook.
Yep.
Like, she sort of leads this charmed life. And yes, she does. I mean, she loses her husband and she has to find ways to do that. But it's like, you also work at Facebook, and she's like, well, I had so much time off and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I don't really think that that's relatable for most people. Most people don't work at Facebook. So that's kind of like that. When you were talking about the book that you had written, it kind of jogged my mind and made me think, oh, wow, hey, I would actually prefer something like that, as opposed to, I've been trying to chew through Option B for, what is this, almost July?
Right.
Like 9 months. Yeah. Like, it's been insane.
You're ready for Option C.
I'm ready for option something the hell else. That's what I'm ready for. So
two things. One, I mean, if she lost her husband, she could just retrace her steps and maybe she would find him somewhere in there. All right, that was a bad joke. Sorry. Okay, sorry. But secondly, listen, I mean, everybody's experience is unique, right, compared to them. Sure. But to your point, like, listen, if you're trying to reach the masses with ways to kind of shift, maybe there's to not necessarily come from a different just know who your audience is, right? And meet them where they're at.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. And I feel like there's a huge disconnect there. So the second thing, do you have something?
Okay, real quick. I don't know, for those watching this on video, I was going to show you like how small and quick and easy it is. It's thin. It's a first aid kit. You can like literally open up, and there's all sorts of good stuff in it. So it's something that you can get through in 35 minutes, never mind 9 months.
Oh, nice. That's very readable.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Cool. So my second and my last, I guess, point on your book and I guess just your whole mantra, how in the hell do you stay positive in 2020? Like, we've got coronavirus, we've got, police brutality, Black Lives Matter, and I'm certainly not trying to politicize this whatsoever.
Don't forget murder bees, murder hornets.
That's true. That's true. We're in the middle of a socio-political shit tornado, and it's terrible. And so how do people how can people stay positive through this? Because there's so much divisiveness, and social media certainly does not help anything. It drives people apart.
Yeah.
So what's your suggestion?
Great. So first of all, believe it or not, it's not so much about being positive, right? And so it's a great question, and I get that often. It's like, how do you stay positive? So from my experience, it's really more about being aware of how you're showing up every single day. I believe that this 2020 so far, especially with people being in lockdown and staying in their homes and not being able to work and all these really stressful, overwhelming things that are happening, I believe that this has really made people more of what they already are, right? So there's an opportunity for us to decide, okay, so this is it. If shit's hitting the fan and things are going down, who do I want to be? How do I want to make the most of this time and create the life that I deserve on the other side? Even you guys having a podcast and creating on a regular basis and putting stuff out there, you're doing something with your time that is fun and is connecting with the masses, right? Mm-hmm. So for me, it's a couple of different things. It's about waking up every single day on purpose. It's about waking up and deciding who you're going to be today, and not necessarily, it doesn't matter what's going on around the world. And really, to go back and answer your question, like, stop watching the news. It's not something you can't find out from friends if you need to find out something that's going to actually help you. Otherwise, it's just people telling you their story and selling their propaganda, and really, to your point, putting negative information out there as much as possible.
Yeah.
So that's my suggestion. I don't watch any news. I haven't in years. But literally, I wake up every single day. I typically wake up between 5:30 and 6. Just kind of, my brain goes off, except for on weekends. Weekends I sleep in. I get up. I meditate for like an hour, and I think about, I give myself an opportunity to be more present with myself. And so I'm not thinking about other things. I'm not thinking about all these terrible things that are going on in the world. I'm really just deciding who I want to be. I exercise for a little bit. I'm not a super healthy guy. I'm not like this bulk health, but I do exercise to keep movement and whatever, right? So you're keeping your body and now your mind and your spirit healthy in some capacity. And then I have these things that I call I am statements. And it is after I get done exercising, I come in and I sit and I think about who I want to be and I say it out loud. I have it all written down. I actually have it memorized. But that is someone who is productive. It is someone who is joyful. It is someone who is loving and connected with other people and is having a global impact. And that when you're reminding yourself of all of that to start your day, and it kind of sounds annoying to like some people, right? It's like this whole, it's not like, oh, life is rainbows and unicorns, but it is about all my thoughts come from within. So whoever I want to be in any given moment, going back to this, I'm always creating something. So if I want to create person, I need to be aware, like not just positive, but aware that all the stress that's happening around the world is not serving me, and how I, being angry or upset about it or stressed about it is not serving me either. And it doesn't mean that you can't do something about it, but instead of sit there and complaining and yelling and like you said, sharing stuff on social media that is not empowering others, do the opposite. Like be the light that you want to see in the world. Right. So it's not like you don't have to sit there and focus on the bad things as much as you can create as much light as you want to, if that's your thing. And that's my thing. So that's what I spend time doing. And by doing that, it brings it into my own life and the people that I'm having conversations with. And I attract people into my life that are also going to kind of be that vibe and want to hang out with somebody like that. So, I mean, really, and this is, I don't want to say embarrassing because I really don't get embarrassed, but it's like this has been one of the best 6 months of my life in the sense that I've been waking up every day and not having other events to go to, not having places to be. I could just focus on my job and focus on my life and focus on connecting with great people like you and getting my book out there. I started a couple other companies, and so I'm doing all these different things. And it's not to ignore the challenges of others as much as it's to give them, be the light that I want to see in the world so they see that that's an opportunity and they could try to do it themselves if it serves them.
Yeah, since I've gone into isolation, this has been the best time of my life. I've been waking up, I've been exercising, I've been, well, not eating better, but exercising and trying to just stay positive. And it's done I've had a positive turn on my life completely since I've gone into isolation. I don't want the virus around, but it's done good things for me personally, because I've been able to focus on myself. The stuff that you're talking about, meditation, thinking positively, it really works. It really works well.
100%. Well, and that goes back to your point. So now this year, you're now creating somebody who's meditating. I mean, you know what I mean? So it really works because you're creating time to be present in your own self. Everything, any fear comes from typically outside, right? It's a fear of what someone else thinks. It's a fear of what something else is going to happen to me. But when you realize that all that is actually internal thoughts, and we shift it to, okay, how is that fear serving me? Well, it's not. What thought does serve me? And then you actually ask these questions. You start getting curious and creative with the right side of your brain instead of being in the effective life. And you realize really life is happening for me and not to me, which is like a weird concept to step into. But once I did, my entire life changed. Even on your shittiest day when you're like, oh my gosh, how could this possibly be happening for me? Like, that's ridiculous. And I'm not belittling anybody's traumatic experiences, and I've had a few myself. But if you actually ask yourself that question, in some weird warped universe, how would I possibly want this to be happening for me? And you say, okay, so that gives you, there are some possibilities. I don't know what they are yet, but you start being curious about them. And then let's just say you come up with one. Okay, maybe so now that I can be an example for somebody else who had that same challenge, and you start stepping into that purpose. This happened before, it becomes more of your journey than something that just happened to you.
It's incredible. Yeah, it's amazing.
If that makes sense.
I've seen such a huge difference in Kevin, seriously.
Yeah.
From before all this quarantine stuff started, and like now he is happier, he's more creative, he's put out so many amazing creative things. And it's been wonderful. And I've seen that in a bunch of people. A lot of people are sharing things that are like, hey, can we just continue this? Can we maybe not focus so much on work and being miserable and torturing ourselves? Can we kind of take some more time out for ourselves and be happy and craft that? And I think that's wonderful. I honestly do. I think it's great.
And the other piece to that is creating gratitude as often as possible. Like if you're feeling stressed, you're feeling overwhelmed, there's always an opportunity to create gratitude for something. And that something can literally be anything. Like, I'll break it down this way. There's literally oxygen, gravity, and sunlight here just so that you can exist. Just so you are here by a miracle. The fact that that is all happening just so you can live, it's like, so what are we doing with it? Like every day is a miracle, no matter what shitstorm is going on, no matter if the world's on fire, it's still a miracle. They talk about people like Viktor Frankl, people like Nelson Mandela, who were in much, much worse situations, right? And they created thoughts that served them to get them through those rougher situations and come out the other end to change the world, literally. And so these moments when people are, hey, listen, I can't go out, or I'm stuck, or these terrible things are happening, those are your Nelson Mandela moments. Those are your Viktor Frankl moments. It's like, okay, so who do I want to be in spite of, right? Who do I want to be now? So literally, to kind of go back to answer your question, how do you be positive in a stressful environment? It's recognize that this is the gift. Like, life is the most important gift there is. And so it's your responsibility as a human being and as a sentient being to do something about it. And to make the best version of it that you can.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That. Yeah. Do you want to plug your book one more time before we move on to another segment?
Yeah, happily. And first of all, in the spirit of gratitude, just sharing, I really want to thank you guys for making time to have me here.
Totally.
No problem. I love having you on the podcast. You're an amazing person.
It's an awesome place to be. And if ever you have like a theme, whether it be a fish or a life coach or anything else, again, you guys want to have me back, and I'd love to be here.
Absolutely.
But in the meantime,
thumbs up.
Yeah, thank you so much. For the listeners out there, the book is called Be Patient, Be Present, Be Joyful, a first aid kit for the emotional bumps, scrapes, and bruises of life. And my name is Ryan M. Stanley. You can find it on Amazon or ryanstanley.com. And real quick, I also mentioned, you said you're a real big book reader. There is a book that changed my life quite a bit recently. I listened to it, so I don't do the reading, but I do the audible. Sure. It's by a guy named Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza. And he has a couple books. One of them is called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. He's got 4, but 2 I'll mention right now. And the second one is called Becoming Supernatural. And those books have had a really huge influence on my life. And so I'd recommend them to anybody who's looking. It's not just, and he's not the person who works at Facebook and is saying, hey, I've had a pretty good life and parts of it sucked. He's saying, he's the type of guy that wanted, and I'll make it quick because I know you guys got another segment, but I'll just say, he's the type of guy that said, listen, I want to find out the science behind people change and people having personal growth and like why people sometimes heal themselves almost, like what's going on internally, like what. And so he talks about the chemicals that come into your brain when you become positive or you choose gratitude or love versus the chemicals that are in your brain when you're depressed or angry or stressed. And so to your audience out there who may be more on a stressful level, depressed level, my book might be a good Band-Aid for the future, but those books will be a little bit more intentional and purposeful, I think.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely going to read it.
Check out those books, man.
Cool. Awesome.
So I don't know if you have anything else to do. You can stick around with us if you want, or if you have something else to do, don't mind if you have to go. But we're just going to keep plugging on with our segments now.
I would love to
hang out.
Yeah, I'll hang for a while. That's cool with you guys. And if I disappear, I'll just tag off. I'll say goodbye. But in the meantime,
absolutely. All right. Well, let's get into some fucked facts.
Ready.
Fuck fact number 1. The cigarette lighter was invented before the matchstick. It fucking blew my goddamn mind when I read it.
No, it was not.
I don't believe that.
Not a sin.
That's what I read, and I believe everything off the internet pro bono, so whatever.
Good point. I didn't know that was on the internet. If I knew it was on the internet, it must be true. Okay, go ahead.
It must be true.
Definitely.
Fuck fact number 2. The world's deepest post box is in Susami Bay, Japan, and it is 10 meters underwater. They have to get in scuba gear and go down to get the post. I think it's just a gimmick, but it's pretty fucking cool.
They put it in a plastic bag.
They must. I don't know.
Ziploc. Double seal.
Fuck fact number 3. Psycho was the first film to show a toilet flushing on screen.
That I knew. And I think not just flushing, but just the first toilet on screen. You weren't even allowed to show a toilet on screen up before then. So not even flushing.
That's true. I love that movie. I didn't even know that until I read that. So those were your fucked facts.
That's insane.
And it's pretty cool.
That's absolutely nuts.
Now, if they could flush a toilet down to the 10-foot deep post, like if they could combine the two somehow, that would be.
Oh, hey, yeah. Well, what if you could just send it down in the toilet?
I was going to say we could save them some time. We don't even need the postman. There's no going down in the trench. You just put it in the toilet. You're good to go.
Or like one of those bank tubes that just goes down.
Vacuum tubes.
Yeah.
That make more sense, right? Like, but the post box underwater still doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
It's just the Japanese showing you that they can do stuff because they're fucking amazing at doing things.
They do everything right.
Exactly.
Honestly. Like, who's it for, though? Who's the post box for? Like, is it for, some sort of marine vessel down there? Like, research?
Told you Aquaman was real. They must be for Aquaman and Atlantis and shit. I knew they existed. I
I didn't know he was a Japanese citizen.
I was thinking the same thing. I had no idea he was Japanese. I've been picturing him completely different. Though in the movie, he looks a little closer to Japanese than the cartoon from, the 60s and 70s. So maybe
the
yeah,
cartoon
just
with
like
the hair.
only this much.
Right.
Yeah.
Big
right.
step.
Yeah. That's funny.
Let's get on to do some weather. And today's weather is on the planet Venus, which is a little different. It is currently 735 degrees Kelvin, which is 462 degrees Celsius and 863 degrees Fahrenheit. The winds are approximately 85 miles per second right now, and it's raining sulfuric acid, so bring an umbrella because it's quite drizzly.
Sounds like a vacation, not the vacation I would take today. But,
no.
But the umbrella would help.
The umbrella would definitely help.
A lead umbrella.
So, now we're just gonna move on to movie review to ignore. And I don't know if you have one, Megan, but I watched a movie called Replicas. It had Keanu Reeves in it. I gave it 12 out of 16 ampersands. It was a pretty good flick. It's new on Netflix, and it was like Keanu Reeves just doing what he does best.
He's great.
Being melodramatic and amazing.
He's great.
He does everything. Exactly. Like he's a super nice dude too. Like
that's
he's
all I ever hear.
Yeah, you literally never hear anything about him like throwing a fit about anything or him being unkind. Like you hear him doing acts of kindness for total strangers and doing shit anonymously. Like
donate like large percentages of his income to charitable causes or to help others. I've heard that.
Yeah,
exactly.
See, I live in Vancouver and I work with a lot of people who work around in the movie and TV industry, and I've just never heard one bad story about that guy, never once. I always hear lots of shitty things about Matthew McConaughey and Stephen Amell, who plays the Green Arrow on that TV show. That guy's a real fucking prick, apparently, but
it's the word
never Keanu Reeves. Never Keanu Reeves.
I heard they're coming out with a new Bill and Ted.
I saw the trailer for that. It looks amazing. I've been waiting for this my entire life, I feel like.
I would be there. I haven't been to the movies in years. I would pay to go see that movie.
It's called Bill and Ted Face the Music.
But is it the original Bill and Ted?
Yeah, it's Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter reprising their roles.
Then I'm good with it. Then
the only one who's not in it is George Carlin, rest in peace.
And what about Death? What about the guy who plays Death in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey? Is he back?
That guy's reprising his role as well. I can't remember the actor's name, but I saw him in the trailer.
Sweet.
Nice.
Fuck yeah. So, now, Megan, we do a little bit of eating rainbow.
Okay. So, this sounds really silly, but my eating rainbow, I love to cook. You probably don't know, but now you do. I love to cook. And so, probably the coolest thing that I did this week culinarily, I made copycat Kentucky Fried Chicken original recipe chicken because I love it and I think it's delicious. It worked out actually really good. I deep fried it and I did use buttermilk, and like there's a bunch of trolls online that are like, whoa, why'd you use buttermilk? There's no, well, because I did. Get over it.
Because it's delicious. That's why.
I'm creating joy.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah. No, but like there's a bunch of different herbs and spices and stuff. And like, to be honest, it was really, really good. And like, if people are interested, I can post it up in the recipe up in the Suckhole. But like, it was good. It was super easy. I butchered
herbs and spices on it.
The herbs and spices, yeah. So it's salt, thyme, basil, oregano, celery salt, ground pepper, but only 1 tablespoon, dried mustard, dried paprika, garlic salt, ground ginger, a shitload of ground white pepper.
11.
Yeah. And then I put in.
Does the recipe say shitload on there? Is that?
It does. Verbatim.
Yeah. Nice. But just checking.
Yep.
Taking
We're
notes.
accurate here. And then it calls for something called accent seasoning. I wondered if maybe this was called seasoning salt. So I just use seasoning salt anyway, because why not? And then it called for buttermilk. I didn't have any, so I made my own, which you can do with vinegar. and plain milk. A lot of people don't know that.
I didn't know that.
And then, yeah, you can. I think in 1 cup, you can put 1 teaspoon or tablespoon. Not real sure. I can't remember right now. Of just plain white vinegar, and you have buttermilk.
Ironically, I would have thought you would have mixed milk and butter, not milk and vinegar. So it's
that's what I would have thought.
Why don't they just call it that? That should be like fact number 4. Like buttermilk is actually vinegar milk.
It is. It is. Buttermilk is soured milk. It's really strange.
Yeah.
But it works. And I mean, it tasted pretty close. Fun fact, my very first job, I worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken.
So you're old school. So you know what that tastes like.
Oh, I know.
It's a favorite for a reason. You were there.
Exactly. I was on the front lines. It was really good. So I can definitely post the recipe and I mean, if you have a pressure cooker, obviously use the pressure cooker because that's what they use at Kentucky Fried Chicken. I don't. I have a Fry Daddy, so that's what I used because poverty. But but no, it turned out really well. It turned out well. Oh, actually, I forgot. The secret ingredient. Apparently, the secret ingredient is MSG.
Well,
do you have any?
I did. I keep it in a shaker.
Extra
yeah. Oh, I remember when I was there, you did have it in a shaker.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I've got it labeled not MSG because that puts a lot of people off. I've got it labeled umami, like the Japanese little, because that's what that is.
You know, the funny part about that was I thought you said I have it labeled not MSG. Like, that's what it just says on there because that turns people off. Just so you know, whatever's in here, it's not MSG.
I just want you to know that after this, I'm going to go downstairs and change my shaker. It's going to say not MSG.
That's awesome. Well, I guess let's move on to some traditional cooking with Kevin.
Yay!
And
I'm ready.
On today's episode of Traditional Cooking with Kevin, I'm Kevin. This is Traditional Cooking with Kevin. I'm Kevin, and my recipe on Traditional Cooking with Kevin. I'm Kevin is a couple days ago. Emily and I made a salad, and then we forgot about it and left it in the fridge for a couple days. So I have it right here. I'm gonna eat some, and the ingredients are lettuce, cucumber, onions, tomato. The tomato you shouldn't put in the fridge. It takes the taste away and goes soft and disgusting, but I'm going to eat it anyways. And radishes that I grew myself. I think my cats shit on the radishes, so I washed them real good. But they're in here right now, and I'm just going to eat some for y'all.
It's traditional.
It's pretty good. I got some sauce. It's Greek feta.
Ooh.
Straight to the dome?
Oh, I got... That's really strong.
I'll sneak up on you.
Well, that was Traditional Cooking with Kevin. I'm Kevin. Don't ever drink the sauce like that. That is strong on the throat.
Oh man, that was good. That was cathartic.
Now, the radishes being shat upon by the said kittens or cats, was this like in the ground before they were harvested, or was this afterwards?
They were in the ground. My cats went in my garden and dug up all my carrots and made a litter box out of it.
Yeah.
But they never dug the radishes up. They let them grow, and then they went on shit right on top of them.
Right.
Well, I'm not going to waste the radish.
It's fertilizer.
That's what I said, and Megan disagreed with me the other day. You said, no, it's not good fertilizer. And you know what? You're right. Everything there is dead where they shit in the soil.
It's not good for anybody.
I mean, I just don't want to get leishmaniasis, but that's me.
Right.
I don't think Canadian cats have leishmaniasis, but okay.
Here we go.
American. It's a U.S. disease.
So Kevin and I consistently have to correct him, right? So like when he does the weather in Phuket, Thailand, I know that he's doing the weather there because he pronounces it "fuck it, Thailand."
Fuck it, the fucking island.
I immediately say no, Kevin. That's not how it works. So again, it's not whatever you butchered it to be. It's leishmaniasis.
A leash on my maniasis.
Your nieces.
You know what? Let's just move on and let's have a wish.
All right. I'm ready.
I'm ready.
So this segment is I have a random word generator, and I have it set to generate one random word. And then Megan is going to put the word into Wish, and we're going to find the cheapest, stupidest thing, and we're going to buy it and ship it to us. And when it comes on that show, we'll unbox it. So it says hook right now, but that's not the word. That's just the one it started on. I'm gonna.
Okay.
Here we go. Oh, what happened? Oh, it's shutting off.
You hit power off.
I hit power off. Emily, say a random word. What?
Damn it. Hate you all.
Quick and easy.
Oh my God. All right. So there's this thing. It's the second thing that pops up. I can't believe I clicked on this. I'm not really. Oh, it's called This Is What You Want Titan Gel. Apparently, it is a penis enhancing gel. And the picture says 1,000 words. Special gel for penis. And then they have one that says extra sensation.
You definitely want to get that one.
Is it how much is it?
It's $8, but it's
$8?
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
And this is what you want. I mean, that's what else do you need to know?
That's what came up. Add it to the shopping cart.
It's going in the queue.
Does that make it $10 Canadian? And does it make a difference? Do we have a budget?
It's probably $10 Canadian, but on PayPal, their fucking thing's outrageous. Probably like $30 Canadian.
I cannot believe I just added this shit to my wish list, but here we are. And I wish I could just show you a screen grab because okay, so there's this picture. It says comparison of effects. In the before picture, it has a girl laughing at a guy who obviously is not
well endowed, we'll say.
Well endowed or even on the playing field. And then it has an after picture of a woman who looks like she's being ravaged by the ghost of Aquaman. I don't know. And then it just says big with 2 exclamation points. So
order away.
2 exclamation points.
I mean, that's how enthralled she is.
That's how big
there's 2. So I just want to show, I just want to tell you what is sandwiched in between. So the first is a little sign. It's a little wooden sign that says, "What happens in the hot tub stays in the hot tub." And then on the other side of it, there's a cat holding a bloody butcher knife that says, "What?" with a question mark. So.
Hence, maybe that's why it came up for your search of what?
Thanks, Emily.
Thanks, Emily.
Good one, Emily.
We got penis enlarging cream that's going to be shipped, and I guess I'm going to try it out.
Oh my God, what the fuck? How did that come from that to that?
You know, Wish.
Oh God. Here we
go. Now that that's out of the way, I was really worried about that segment. I thought we were going to get some fucking really expensive shoe or something, but thank fuck the random number generator didn't work.
It's a win-win.
Yeah, because I don't need help, but I'm going to try it out, you know?
Right. It's for science. I'll try it out for science. That's all.
Yeah. All in the name of research.
Let's do some conspiracy. And I know that we've done this specific conspiracy before, but we didn't go into the possibilities of who could have done it, which is what we're going to do today. So let's travel back to November 22nd, 1963. Dealey Plaza was packed with excited bystanders ready to see the 35th president of America. As JFK made his way off Main Street, shooting rang out, killing the president. But who really hit JFK with the killing shot? Lee Harvey Oswald was in the Texas Book Depository. But by the time JFK had been hit with the lethal shot, Lee Harvey Oswald was in the wrong spot. JFK's head clearly went back and to the left, as that movie clearly stated.
Over and over again.
Over and over. Oswald's shot, if he had hit, would have pushed JFK's head to the front and to the right. The shooter in the grassy knoll is also a big possibility, or even the shooter in the sewer grate. But up to 11 shooters could be a big possibility. Despite everything we don't know, we can all agree on one thing. George Bush was lying about not being in Dallas that day. He's the only person on Earth who can't recall where he was on November 22nd, 1963. Except for me, because I'm not that old.
Me neither.
But this is what I was thinking. Is that there is this picture on the internet that people are saying that it's George Bush standing outside of the Texas Book Depository on that day right before JFK was shot. And since he's the only one who was never recounted for and was head of the FBI or the head of the CIA at the time, right? I think that he was the one that fucking orchestrated the whole goddamn thing. And I don't know if it's the shooter in the grassy knoll that hit him, because JFK's head also kind of went. It
Back
didn't
to the left.
It kind of went down instead of like up. So I think the shot came from or his head kind of went up instead of down. I mean, and I think the shot kind of came from lower. So like, there's this theory that there's a shooter in the sewer grate, like
right,
shooting from inside the sewer, and then there's a bullet hole that was on one of the street signs that was way the fuck up in the air in the intersection that they found, and that the only real possibility was somebody thought the first shot missed and hit that, and then the second shot fucking got him in the head. Brutal. I've watched that film over and over again. It's fucking disgusting.
So you think Lee Harvey Oswald was just like a patsy, like a willing patsy?
I don't even think he took a shot, honestly. I think that he just so happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and they fucking used him as a patsy. You know? That's what I believe, but there's a lot of debate on it still.
Or they knew that he was going to be there, and it was intentional. Right? Somebody knew.
Maybe they set him up. They set up Lee Harvey Oswald, like.
I think so, because he went to Russia. He seemed like he would probably be the perfect person to blame it all on as a Russian traitor, right? Coming back to America. It was the perfect patsy for the whole thing. I don't think he ever took one fucking shot at the president. I don't think so. But
time will tell. Aren't there papers that have been released? Like I remember watching that movie, and it was like back in 1997. They're like, and in the year 2007, these documents will be released that will tell other people.
2017 or 2018, they released all the rest of the documents, except Donald Trump was president at the time, and he held back like 1,200 documents from the whole pile. And people are saying that those are the he said there's another 50-year thing on those 1,200 documents, and people are saying that those are the ones that are really going to tell the true story about the whole thing. And there is proof. Lee Harvey Oswald was talking to the mafia, and that the mafia might have been involved as well in the papers that have been released. But people are saying that those 1,200 documents have the real answer in them about who really fucking, or who was the leader of the whole cabal against him.
If Trump held those off for another 50 years, does that mean that maybe Fred Trump was involved somehow?
Possibly.
I'm just speculating.
The only reason to keep them back like that is because the person who is involved is still fucking alive, right? And George Bush, when did George Bush die, in 2018 or something? I think he was still alive at the time when the documents came out. He died like shortly after. Or maybe he died like the same year. I think that's why he held them back, is because they say that fucking George Bush orchestrated the whole goddamn thing.
And now his son's still alive. So maybe they're just trying to do everything for all the Bushes. They just want to say, let's give him 50 years to really die slowly.
On the note of Bush, this has nothing to do with JFK, but
or presidents for that matter.
Well, it does. It does.
I know it was a Bush joke. Sorry.
Well, yeah, no, I know. No, you're good. So honestly, did you ever in your mind think, and I don't know your political leanings, but this is, I guess, just speaking for me, I never in my lifetime ever thought that I would pine for George Bush to return. I would just ruffle his little hair and say, "Oh, you little tyke, you You can have your spot back. It's okay.
We'll make you, pal.
What
That's so
an
funny.
abyss of shit.
Yeah. Interesting times to be alive, to say the least.
Oh boy, I just spilled a lot of water.
I'm sure it wasn't salad dressing.
It was not. You know what?
I wish it was
because
salad dressing.
just because you said that.
Oh, a shot.
Another shot.
He's doing a shot. He's doing
Oh
a
my
shot.
god. Oh, just chunks of like, feta cheese. Oh, it's still really harsh on the throat.
I'm sure it's not buttermilk.
And
I wish. I like buttermilk.
no. And this is the moment that he regretted ever agreeing to be on the podcast.
This guy?
Yeah, you.
Not even close. I'm having an amazing time. I'm blessed to be here. Life is an
Good.
adventure, and you
We're
guys have
super
added
happy
some
to have
adventure
you,
to my
man.
day.
We're super happy to have you.
So the next segment is worst. Whoa, everyone's spilling shit.
No, I didn't. I have my phone. It's like kind of a hillbilly setup. It's like propped up on stuff, but it fell. But I'm good now.
The next segment is worst case scenario, and a little while ago I bought this book, the worst case scenario handbook, that's filled with the most ridiculous scenarios ever thought of by man and put in here. And so we just go through a couple of them every show now. For instance, wait a minute. How to escape a charging rhino. Climb a tree. How to escape a charging bull. Do not agonize the bull. Antagonize the bull. Look around. What the fuck?
Or agonize
What
him.
the fuck? It
Whatever you
says
do.
take off your shirt and wave it around at the bull to distract the bull. Isn't that what you not want to do?
It's called being a matador.
and
Make
then
sure you're
how to
wearing a red
fend off-
shirt, first of all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, why do they tell you that? How to get away from a stampeding group of shoppers? Tells you to just not go near the front doors. What the fuck was I on when I was reading these, thinking this was going to be a good idea?
Maybe it was something.
You were, you know what?
It was a bad salad. It was a bad salad, maybe.
You were mainlining your last sliver of hope, Kevin. That's what you were doing.
The animal ones are always so not good in here. Here we go. How to survive if you have excess gas. Limit your lactose intake. Many people suffer from the inability to digest milk, sugar, and lactose. Colon bacteria ferment the milk sugar, fermenting a gas that creates a bloated feeling. Keep your intake to less than half a cup at a sitting and avoid dairy products.
Now we know.
This book, man.
Where did you find that book?
Honestly, I was watching the Trailer Park Boys podcast, and Ricky had this exact book, and he was reading from it, and I thought it would be fucking hilarious to do in our podcast in more detail. Yeah. But every time I find a funny one and start saying it on the podcast, I realize how fucking stupid this is.
Are you familiar with Trailer Park Boys?
I'm not familiar with Trailer, though the name sounds familiar. So maybe I have, but I gotta say, I guess no is the honest answer.
It's a Canadian show that started about 25 years ago. It's like a comedy documentary about a bunch of guys that live in a trailer park in Nova Scotia and just are absolutely unintelligent and shoot guns off and sell drugs and all that. And it became a fucking huge hit up here. And then they exposed it to America, and it's been taking off, and they've started a cartoon for it now and everything. It's gained a lot of popularity.
It's huge.
I thought that was Hunter S. Thompson behind you.
That's John Dunsworth.
Yeah, John Dunsworth, aka Jim Leahy, trailer park supervisor. Kevin actually sent that to me.
Yeah.
Sounds like a nice gift. So I assumed it was somebody else who looks similar but different.
So if you're going to watch Trailer Park Boys, if you're new to it, seasons, I would say 1 through 3 are a bit iffy. They're a bit iffy.
Took them a while to get their speed.
They are, yeah. It's definitely it was shot initially in the late 90s. But like seasons probably like 4 through, what would you say, like 9, Kevin? Like maybe 8?
I personally like the very first episode the best.
I mean,
this counselor said it wasn't my fault. It was society's fault.
no, like
Best lines come from that episode.
no, honestly, like there's so many. There's just it's too much. Actually, our podcast, our whole friendship was born out of Trailer Park Boys and depression. Who
There you
knew?
go. Everything's got to start somewhere.
Right?
And so there you go. It didn't happen for you, or it didn't happen to you. It happened for you. That depression.
Exactly.
Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah. No, it's good. But
So
anyway.
the next segment is Florida or Fiction. And on this segment, I
Okay.
have 3 Florida Man articles. One of them is fake, 2 of them are real, and Megan and you, Ryan, have to guess the fake one.
Let's just have Ryan guess.
Okay.
I'll bow out. Let's just have Ryan guess.
First, I have a question.
Okay.
What is fiction? Oh, fiction.
Florida or Fiction?
Fiction.
So,
Sorry, I thought you said
yeah.
Florida or fiction, and I thought maybe fiction was like a town in Canada that was like equal to like putting out people from Florida. And you're like, okay,
No.
these crazy people are either from Florida or fiction, and you have to guess which is which.
No.
No, it's just 2 of these are real Florida Man articles, and one of them is just one that I made up. And if you guess the right one, then you get a little bit of clout.
Nice. I'm
It's
ready.
deceptively hard.
Yeah.
Not surprised.
So I'm just
Can I
going to
wait
read them
before-
out.
Can I
all
also
3 of them
say that
right?
if I get it right, I get 1,000 points?
Of course, you can have
Thank you.
1,000 points.
Just checking.
Duh.
I'm just going to read them all out, and then you can go ahead and guess. Number 1, Florida man arrested with whole cooked chicken in his colon. Number 2, Florida man crashes car at a closed bar just to drink a Dr. Pepper. And number 3, Florida man refuses to wear mask at Walmart. People around him question who he works for.
People around him question who he works for. You know, I have to feel like number 1 is fiction, which then leads me to believe that it can't be the one that you think it is right off the bat.
See?
And this is the deceptively difficult part.
It's harder than you think it would be.
Number
right?
2 was the driving into the bar just to drink Dr. Pepper. And number 3, the guy is not wearing a mask and people around him question who he works for.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess that number 3 is actually the fiction one.
Editor Kevin, please insert drum roll here. Wrong.
Ugh.
Number 1 is fake.
Ah.
You're right. You should have went with your gut. Who can fit a whole cooked chicken up their ass?
Well, what if it was like a small chicken?
It could have been a Cornish hen.
It could have been a Cornish hen.
I was reading that the anal hole can stretch to about 7 inches, so a raccoon or a chicken might be able to get up there, actually.
Never can tell.
No, I retract my previous statement. This is the moment that he regrets going on this podcast.
Never. Everything is a choice. Blessed to be here.
Well, we're almost done here anyways. We've got 1 segment left.
Nice.
And that
I got 3 minutes.
Awesome.
Nice.
That's the spinning wheel of shit. And so I have the wheel of shit right here. I'm going to try and lay it down here.
It's a rudimentary wheel, just so
It's
you
a very
know.
rudimentary wheel. And we've got random fact about yourself. Sniff this rag, which I forgot again, so I'll be sniffing my sock if I land on that. Try to laugh without smiling, which is deceptively hard. And make up a song on the spot, which I always like doing. So let's spin. Random fact about yourself. Random fact about myself. I have a very sensitive caffeine. I'm very sensitive to caffeine, yet I still drink about 3 or 4 coffees a day right now, and I'm fucking absolutely buzzing and need to shit my pants constantly because of it.
That is a random fact.
What's a random fact about you, Ryan? Just off the cuff. Doesn't have to be vulgar. Doesn't have to be profane.
Yep, no worries. I have not worn a pair of sunglasses since like 1991. And I don't wear deodorant.
Actually, that's fair because, you know, a lot of mainstream deodorants I hear are very bad for you with all the aluminum
So
shit in
do
there.
you wear an antiperspirant, or do you just don't wear anything?
I just don't smell bad. I just decided that when I was like in like grade school, I was like, oh, I don't really even need this. I don't know why I'm putting it on. And then I just believed in my brain that I never needed it. I never did again.
That's hella confidence, man. That's awesome.
I mean,
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong this whole time, and people are like, yeah, that's why.
Yeah, but like if you're married and someone had kids with you, like you're probably okay.
Or at least
like,
at some point she might mention, hey, by the way, why don't you throw on a stick of something there. But
Mullen
no,
spice there.
nothing.
Yeah. Nice.
Those are my 2 random facts. Just popped up. Thought I'd share.
That's awesome. Megan, is there something you'd like to share?
Random fact about myself. I have a tattoo in Bulgarian.
Is what I was about to say is in Bulgarian. I was like, oh, is that is that a place somewhere? Like, oh, it's in Bulgarian, but it's in the language of Bulgarian, is what you're saying.
Yes. Yes.
Just trying to be funny. Again, not my job.
Oh.
Well, that's all that I have, so I'm ready to do some plugs and outros unless anyone has anything else they'd like to offer.
I don't
That's
think
it.
else.
Well, you can find the Earths Suckhole on Facebook at the Earths Suckhole. And you can also find us on Instagram at Earths Suckhole, on TikTok and Tumblr. I recently removed Snapchat because that's fucking stupid. And we're really heavy onto YouTube. Go subscribe, hit the notification bell there for everything that we're uploading. Also, if you'd like to email us suggestions for shows, say hi, or tell us to go fuck ourselves, you can write to us at earthsuckhole@gmail.com. Now, is there anything else I may have forgotten? Oh yeah, go fuck yourself. Bye.
Bye.
Well, thank you, Ryan. That was awesome.
Yes.
We loved having you on the show.
Yeah, guys, thanks. I hope it was cool that I stuck
was
around.
so
I didn't
fun.
know that was going to be the case, but if it's cool with you, it's cool with me.
It's
No,
awesome.
absolutely.
That was awesome. And I'd
1000%.
love to have you on the show again if you'd like someday, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, let me know. In the meantime, let me get your addresses if that, or you can just email them to me, whatever's easier. But I'd love to send you guys each copies of the book.
That would be awesome.
I would totally like. You know what we should do, Kevin? We should actually plug the book on the Suckhole.
Yeah, you know, I'm going to be plugging the book everywhere.
Yeah.
As soon as I start posting all this everywhere, the book will start getting plugged everywhere. Your website, everything. Awesome. Yeah, I'll email you our addresses right after we're done here. Yeah.
Love it.
I would absolutely love a copy for sure.
Thank you very much. That was awesome.
Thank you guys. Keep up the awesomeness. Keep being you. Enjoy the journey. I know it seems like life is crazy right now, but you guys are doing the right thing with it. Step into your greatness and be the best versions of yourself, and you can't go wrong. High fives all around.
We're trying to make people laugh, honestly.
That's what it's about. Cheers,
all
guys.
right.
Thanks.
Have a good one. See ya. Bye.
Bye.
How do you end this? There we go. That was awesome.
Dude!